Hey, I'm Kev Hillman. Welcome back to MXGP Pro, as race 2 is about to get underway in Argentina under full wet conditions. It is lashing it down for the second race. Can Hillman survive and grab a double and the overall victory here in South America? So here's Hillman revving up on the outside for the second moto. Let's get underway. Bit of a slow getaway. But you won't mind that heading into the first corner where it gets very congested on the inside as Jonas gets the whole shot. And for Hillman, wall of death around the outside. But it's working. We think. He goes over the massive jump past Siwa. Approaching the top 10, past Garcia as well. And look, it's just stacking up in front in these very wet conditions. But Hillman up to third already from the back. It's like the first race all over again. Just able to make up so many positions on the opening lap. Able to make it up into second, is he? Into the lead, past Patrick, past Jonas as well. What a move. As he gives the Latvian room though on the inside. And here comes the Frenchman, they're 3 wide. Hillman does a little scrub. And takes the lead, does he? As you can see, the track pretty dry at the moment. The rain has just been falling before the gate is dropped. As Jonas goes very wide there, making the move on Hillman. He gets slowed up on the tabletop, carrying too much speed into it, and him and Jonas are swapping positions. Like a hell. As he goes wide in the right hand, here comes the Frenchman, here comes Olsen as well. Oh, and it looks like we've got another contender as well as Hillman. Oh, gets pushed wide. He's got Garcia trying to make a move now. And he looks like he has. As the Spaniard down the inside. But Hillman in 5th after the first lap. And you can already see it's getting wet. And there wasn't Olsen. It's his teammate Covington. The American up to 3rd. Like in these wet conditions. So does Hillman in 4th. There's Olsen behind, battling with Garcia for 6th. Of course they're battling together. They seem to be attached to their hip, that pair. It's down the inside of Patrick, goes Hillman. Now down the inside of Jonas with the Latvian. He makes the move. As you can see, the puddles are starting to build up. Already on this second lap. Oh, Hillman goes wide. Carrying a bit too much speed. We've got to make sure you don't carry too much speed into the next right-hander as well. But he's ahead of Jonas, is he? Oh, the Latvian pushes him wide. As they're going side by side again. Into the hairpin. This time Hillman's got the inside. And can dictate where everyone else has to go. As that's not a good decision to scrub there, Hillman. And you can see the Frenchman now coming into play for 2nd. Hillman leads though. And look how wet this is compared to the first lap. There's no puddles at all. Unbelievable build-up. In just 1 lap. But don't worry, you've just got over 25 minutes to survive and 2 laps at the end. I'm sure everyone will be able to do that. This is Hillman racing away now that he's got the lead. Always feels so slow around that hairpin as all. Case that jump slightly. And he does a 36.9 for his first proper race lap. Absolutely on it is Hillman. As he go through. The left-hander through the right as well. And that might be the fastest out of this race. With these conditions, track's just going to get wetter, going to be harder, going to be slippery. Oh, the crowd love that scrub. Loving the big air. Oh, and they don't love that though. Hillman down already. Gets going again. I'm surprised it took almost 4 minutes to survive. But he gets back down the inside of Jonas immediately. Takes back that lead. Doesn't seem anybody has an answer to Hillman pace-wise. It's just Hillman who's beating himself sometimes. Let's hope he can just keep it upright for the remainder. So he goes a bit wide in the hairpin. Conscious of the KTM rider behind. But this is eating into Jonas's gap. Only tiny amounts. Every biteful leads to an empty plate. Well, Hillman, that is closing that gap to the Latvian behind. He's definitely going to be top 10 in the championship, no doubt, after this weekend, though. What a happy underground Argentina's proved to be. Virtually unbeatable here. It's like marketing MotoGP being unbeatable in America, on the circuit of the Americas, around the Saxon Ring as well. Surrounded is incredible on that Honda, on those two venues. Same with Hillman here in Argentina. Very good round here. They got through the right hand, okay, so much speed, so confident. You saw that in the opening lap, round the outside. The wall of death he did. Somehow finding grip there. Let's say he's got to be a bit more cautious in this section. Just to say that, he decides to wheel it. Bit of a madman. It's the Macau rider, but of course we've seen that over the years. MX2, MXGP, 250 East, 250 West in Supercross and 450s as well. Now back in MX2. Wanting to prove he can match some of the up-and-coming riders, some of these youngsters. Especially battling Hurlins in MXGP, that should be exciting. Against Caroli as well. You got Geyser. Got Desailly, you've got a number of top riders in MXGP, but also in MX2 as well. Got Jonas, who's very strong at KTM alongside his teammate Garcia. Got it Hasvan, a pair of Covington, the American. Seems to be eyeing up Supercross though. Wants to be heading home stateside. So climb up to MXGP after his MX2 ride is over. And you've got his teammate Olsen, who's shot into the scene in recent years. And of course you've got the Frenchman, Patrel. And you've got Siwa as well on the Suzuki. No, it's been very up and down for him so far this season. The Swiss rider. We always expect to see him up there. You also got the Brits such as Ben Watson, Connor Muse as well, Nat Hasvana. So lots of very good riders in this class. So here we go, downhill. Can Hillman finally do this properly? Not quite, but at least he's upright. Needs to be taking his own course as well. But he's not getting any action from the stewards. Oh, but he does from the ground. There's headache number 2 of the day. But he's still just ahead of the Latvian. And just as predicted, he's not matching that 36.9 from the opening lap. And oh, there he is on the KTM. And they're again around 4 minutes after the first crash. So every 4 minutes, Hillman's going down. So that'd be 7 crashes. That'd be single figures. That'd be a first as well in races. I'm surprised his head hasn't just ejected from his neck after some of these crashes. There's been some hard hits for Hillman, but he's tough rider, just like everyone in the field. Find that with riders in all forms, especially in like road racing with the Isle of Man, Northwest 200, Ulster Grand Prix. They really are dancing with death every time they get on the bike. May not say the same about every motorsport now, but still for two-wheeled riders it's maybe a bit more at the forefront of the mind, should we say, compared to some four-wheel competitors. So of course hats always go to motocross riders, to Dakar, enduro riders, MotoGP, Moto3, Moto2, even in their quite safe surroundings, you still see it occasionally, unfortunately. And of course, to the road racing riders, maybe the ballsiest of them all. As we're around a third of the way through this race. And I say that as well about road racing riders when we've had the recent death of, unfortunately, another Dunlop. And that is Michael Dunlop. No, much loved competitor. very successful competitor as well. And of course, thoughts are with Donald family and all of his family and friends at this difficult time. And a big loss on the motorbike road racing scene. So go on to, what was be the 5th or 6th that? Hillman leading. Well, he's had a couple of issues. Couple of falls. So he's got to keep the concentration going. He can't afford to just slip up and cruise. Especially as look at these look at the rain pouring down. It is tough out there for these riders. And they've still got 20 minutes plus 2 laps to go. We've only done a third of the race. They are going to be drenched. I hope whoever's cleaning this is getting paid handsomely. Well, they're cleaning themselves as well. Because they're going to be very muddy after this race. So the fans as well. I hope they're enjoying it. And it's still a big crowd there. As Olsen's on the move. And it says Varner up into 3rd. That's what we expect him to be as well. Very strong as the Danish rider. You have the Frenchman now, the veteran of Hillman's old adversaries. His previous time in MX2. It's amazing to see how many faces are still in MX2 from when Hillman was last in it. Thought there'd be a bit more turnover. But like Moto 3, in the MotoGP there, though in MX2 is an age limit. And then you have to move up or go somewhere else. So I guess with some riders like Covington, like Patriot, they're just on that age limit now. And just trying to impress before moving up or deciding when to move up. Just like Jeffrey Erdins last year. Like we've seen in previous years as well with in Ansley as well, the Brit. He was always quite near the front in MX2 level. Oh, look at that slide into the jump. That's nicely held by Hillman. Boy, he's going to go down there. But you can see his competitors now to the left-hand side as he goes uphill. And look how muddy this is. The slightly disappointing thing is that it doesn't feel like the grip is any less than the opening lap, though. It just looks more impressive. Maybe near the end of the race it will, but then we saw this in Indonesia as well, where, yeah, it looks like it's got incredibly more difficult, but doesn't feel like it, even though lap times are going up. I think that 36.9 will not be beaten, but again, we're just being cautious by habit, it feels like. And you see 38 there from Hillman, and he wasn't riding his best at that. So you can probably still be in the 37s comfortably. Maybe dipping that into that 36 if he really nailed that like he did on that opening up. We go through that long right-hander. You have to be so cautious in the powder. But that's the same, especially in this section going downhill through that right-hander. Setting up for this downhill section. Just the flares are coming out. You see that on the left-hand side as well. Oh, we found a white flare. Normally it's been green or coloured flares. You can see Hillman really trying to manoeuvre bike now. Just maintaining that gap to the Latvian behind. They're all in 38s, I think. So Hillman can dip into the 37s, maybe even produce the odd 36 as well. Looking very handy this race. Let's move that weight forward, Hillman. Again, sliding slightly wide. This right hand is so frustrating. Especially the exit where you think, oh, now I can floor it, and then there's a little jump. But that's like most of this track, so these sections just flow into each other. Like this last section, you think, oh, I've nailed the corner. No, got to set up for this next corner. I don't know, I can finally nail the power, but no, just got to be a bit cautious. So we've got another 38 from Hillman. Really has slowed it down as we approach the halfway mark of this race. Race 2, which has been all Hillman after some furious action at the start. Fantastic action between him and Jonas and the Frenchman Patriel. But since then, all Hillman, despite the odd bubble, the odd disappearance in concentration. But only 2 falls so far. It's a much improved performance, maybe his best performance of the season so far, where he's not trying to push every lap, push the limits. He's actually concentrating on staying upright as well. And it's working so far. I was waiting for the commentator's curse there out of the hairpin, but didn't quite work. We go downhill. I'm starting to feel that grip go a bit now. Definitely getting that wheel spin on the slippery surface a bit more. But still doesn't feel like any major loss of grip really. Just traction. If I'm describing that right. Like I can ride all the normal lines against Hillman, but it's just maybe getting out on the power out of a couple of corners if this stand in water. As they go, dips into the 37s. That's more like it. That's what he needs to do in this second half of the race. Just wants to be very commanding over the field and have a very safe cushion. So go a bit wide. Over the jump. Look at that, 21.7. That might be his best first sector time. Let me set a 21.9 on that 36.9 lap. So again, showing that perhaps the conditions are not as bad as they look. We go over this section. Look how confident he is, Hillman. Looking very good. Let's go out the hairpin. Now you don't see anyone to the left-hand side. He really is riding away from everyone else in Argentina. This is just the race he needed, just the circuit, the weekend he needed after tough getting going in Qatar, especially getting used to these bikes again. And all those falls, battling with the likes of Olsen. And at the back, there's the GoPro sponsorship. You know, he doesn't forget about his sponsors, Hillman, as that's full free. Admittedly, a stupid one, but very easy to do as well. These sections where you're trying to link them all up. And it's still a 37 from Hillman, so that could have been the fastest lap. They could have been mid 36 at least. Or even low 36. If Elbo's linking it all up. This does show pace very much still here in the circuit. He's again 21.9 in that first set. He's getting under the 22-second barrier now. He's just gone not to be too wide in that right hand. If you get a bit too wide, like in this left-hander, going to make it difficult for yourselves. And there you go, Hillman carrying speed, compromise him a bit into the hairpin. But that's why his third fall is in C, still maintaining that gap on Jonas. So I wonder how many circuits like this for Hillman where it just suits him. This rhythm section suits the bike as well. But then he's been quick at every circuit so far. He's just put it together here in Argentina. Even in the wet in Indonesia, when he made the changes for the second race, he was right up there pace-rise. and has always performed well in the second races. It's just for the first time this season he's linked it up in the first and second race. So if he starts doing this consistently, it could be trouble for the opposition. Look at how fast is that by a second. 35.8. There's your confirmation that track conditions really aren't that bad. You can just slide the rear end like that. That was a beautiful slide. Really controlled it, Hillman. Oh, and he's down. What the hell? Not sure how he went down there. Maybe the back wheel just got stuck in the mud there, maybe. But again, 4th fall. And we're in the final third as well. So again, that's 2 falls in the sector. So he could end up at 6 or 7 falls by the end for Hillman. And still, that would be disappointing for him because he really should not be falling now. Round it. Used to the track. But at least it'd be his new best, new low. Being single figures as well for the first time, so he's getting there and staying on the bike. And he's definitely there pace-wise, so if he can cut down the falls like this, like he's done in Argentina, as he goes down again, trying to show off for the fans. Not the time, Hillman. And again, what the hell? Now that wheel is stuck in the mud, it feels like. Lucky he's built that lead over Jonas, otherwise he'd be in trouble. Just got to calm himself now, Hillman. That's like 4 falls now, in the space of a couple of laps. Just been a bit stupid in the middle part of this race. And you can see, the opposition not too far back, he cost himself 10 seconds at that. That's what stupidity costs you. That's why he's so far back in previous races, because of all those falls. And he had a few laps like that in Indonesia, otherwise he'd be right up there in the second race. We go over that first set, and again, a bit more cautious now in that first set to 22.4, compared to what he's putting down previously. Just got to remember the control, that accelerator, that throttle. Don't be treating it like a Thunderfoot or whatever, where you just smash it. You actually got to have finesse in this game. As you can see, there's his opposition to the left-hand side. Oh, keeping it in third now out of there. That wasn't too bad actually. So that was a good run over the jump. Feels like he's always leaning forward now with the acceleration of these bikes. That's one thing that has changed from the bikes previously. You really got to control it. There's much more finesse in the handling. And you really got to lean forward now, have that weight balance. Where you could maybe snack slightly before, now you got to be on it all the time. And there's the new fastest lap for Hillman to respond to those mistakes the previous lap. 45 now, 35.5 is the new fastest lap. Didn't have to do a new fastest lap, but again, just showing that he could maybe be in the 34s as well, because he didn't have a good first set to that lap. Here goes the jump. And again, not a good first set to this at 22.7. What's he doing? At least his least favourite steward is not that section anymore. Maybe got moved for this second race. Hasn't had to pick up his bike at all in that section. It's going to the hairpin. It's at this part of the race where the endurance comes in. After almost 25 minutes out there, concentration starts to wane a bit, as you've seen with those couple of shocking laps of Hillman, but then he just pulls one out of the bag like it's nothing. Just needs to keep it up for the rest of this race. You can hear that throttle control in the background, barely accelerating, it feels like. And with those mistakes, maybe he's not having anyone to lap this race. But they're not seeing anyone in front. Definitely not seen anyone behind for a while. So once again, not making a good go of that jump. I feel like on the MXGP bikes, you can definitely get over that jump, but MX2 bikes, not quite. So go for the first corner again, just controlling that in fourth. Just going to keep it in a high green through most of these corners. Again, short shift to fifth. Down to fourth over the jump. Get a slight scrub on. That's a bit braver, a bit better in that first section. Just as I say, there's no back markers. There's one that appears in front for Hillman. With just under 5 minutes remaining. So we've got around 5-6 laps maybe. More like 5 laps remaining. Goes over the jump. They're just eating into the back markers. They really just show you the difference in class between back markers and the front runners. Saying that Hillman was a back marker for the first couple of Moto races in Indonesia and Qatar. So he's all over the back of last place. Unfortunately, this might be the Japanese rider, I think. As there goes Hillman, just to launch it down the inside. Might be the first time they've seen each other since the start. So he'll power down his inside into that first corner. We've got another rider in front. 21st. Let's see how far Hillman can go in lapping riders, because it's around 18th, I think it was, in the first race he got up to. Let's see if he gets close this time around, as he does a 37. Not the best lap time. Not the worst either. More importantly, he stayed on the bike as well. That's always the most important thing. Goes over the jump, keeps it in 5th this time. That was maybe a bit quicker actually. Get down to 4th, all over 21st. Got some epic passing from Hillman down the inside. That's another rider that. You can almost cut off this work section, being very down the inside there. But might not be the quickest pace heading into the jump, so maybe not the best line. Let's see where everyone else is in front. There's a big gap from 21st to 20th, like there normally has been. There's only been a couple of stragglers, then everyone else in front is quite close. But then, of course, you have the big gaps in the fields at an odd occasion. Like the front runners are way ahead of, say, the midfield. From like 5th or 6th down, so it should be a big gap there as you go over the tabletop. Always get nervous into that left and right hand here with the undulations. Feels like the rear is going to get away. So Hillman skidding a bit into a couple of corners. As he sets a 36 despite lapping a rider and being compromised slightly. Pace has definitely not gone there. Let's just get up to 5th now. Let's see if we can just take this corner in 5th. The rev drop isn't too much. Not too bad at all. Not even over the jump, because still keeping the revs up. Bit slow though, 22.6. As we do have just 3 laps remaining, I think, after this one. So almost 4 laps remaining. As what has been quite a lonely moto for Hillman after that frantic start. You can see some riders in front. He's just been able to just pull away from the rest after that. Despite a couple of mistakes. But only 1 handful so far, I believe. There's only been 5 falls. Actually, it might be 6. I'm not sure if he's had his other one for this 3rd of the race. So it's only 5 or 6 falls, so at least it'd be single figures by the end. Fingers crossed. We haven't just jinxed Hillman there. Next time out, I think we're heading to Europe for the first time this season. Like, you have the flyaway races at the beginning and at the end. Then the core of the season in the middle is in Europe. There we go, another 36 from Hillman. Finding some consistency. He's been a bit all over the place that time, right? He's 35s, 36s, 37s. It's all once again the wall of death on the outside. This time surviving again. Likes doing that, does Hillman. So yeah, we do, including this lap, have 3 laps to go. As the time expires at the top. Hillman going very wide and very deep. But he doesn't want to lap anyone else. Oh, he's gone down. What the hell happened there? He's done that every lap, and this time he falls. A bit strange. So that is the 6th fault. Just getting his other one in. Or 6th or 7th, should I say. Getting his one for this final couple of laps of the race. After the time it's expired. Just take that inside the line. Just got to be so careful. This final couple of laps just to keep it upright. Feels like Hillman's just tiptoeing round now. I know he's got to protect the lead, a massive lead he's got. Still, it's not the fun part of the race, just bringing it home, knowing that victory's within grasp. You just got a couple of laps to go. And to show how much he's been calling around, look at this, there's going to be a 42. So there's now 2 laps to go. Well, this setup was the same setup we used in the first race when it was dry, and it still works equally as well in the wet. Absolutely crazy. Maybe even works better in the wet. Because this set was based, for the most part, around Qatar, but then adjustments were made in Indonesia. And then the final adjustments with the gearing was made here, so that's 3 quite different courses there which have shaped this setup, and this setup seems to be working around each course. And I don't think it really needs to be adjusted for each course we go to. Maybe gearing will be the main thing. Maybe make it longer in for the fast circuits like in Belgium or the Netherlands. But apart from that, this is going to be the setup for the rest of the season probably. As we've got a lap and a half to go. And we've got someone else to lap now for Hillman. He's a bit like a rabbit chasing a carrot now. Add one more onto the tally. And you go over this tabletop section. And drops down into the left and over the right. And you've got to be careful not to carry too much speed on the exit. Not be too sideways over the ridge there. He really did case that jump, that was horrible. As he goes on to the final lap of the race. After over an hour here in Argentina, all Hillman will be tasting will be champagne and success. And then overall, for the first time in years, in MXGP or MX2, he's been away in Supercross, but he definitely has announced his arrival back here in the World Championship. That's the crowd, they are cheering like a mad people for these riders who have braved these very tough conditions. For the 2nd motor in a row, it's been raining heavily in at least one of the races. We had it in both races in Indonesia, it really was puddle city, but not as bad here. Again, in the 2nd race, you do have the build-up of water in certain sections, but as you saw that time-wise, it's still there in the pocket whenever you want. Just like Indonesia, just like Qatar as well. You find with Hillman, most of his best laps are in that final third of the race, when he finally gets consistent. Or like here, when he gets the fast start, then loses concentration slightly in parts of the race. And when he builds it up again, very quick, very consistent near the end with the 35s, 36s, 37s. Like on his final lap, as he crosses the line and wins the second race. So after 21 laps, Hillman wins the second race in Argentina on his Kawasaki ahead of the KTM of Jonas. And as Varno Olsen rounds out the podium ahead of the KTM of Garcia. Then the Yamaha of Patrio ahead of the Husqvarna of Covington. Then the Suzuki of Siwa ahead of Leiber on the KTM. The Suzuki of Hunter Lawrence in ninth ahead of Bogas on the KTM. Then the TM Racing Bernardini in 11th ahead of Ben Watson. Which off on his KTM. As he's going through the rest of the field, it's the Swede at the back. It's not the Japanese rider. As Hillman only got up to 20th in the end. In the second race, pretty disappointing. As Ribini, the result of all his hard work, is the highest up on the podium for Hillman. He thought, well, let's be nice. Let's approve that. Great victory outside you to advantage of everyone, and this is the result. He's going to be our main rival, but we like this Frenchman. Let's approve that. We need to admit that Hillman's tenacity helped him win this. We approve everyone. We've got no rivalries here. As you confirm that. And there it is. The magical 50 points. But unfortunately for Hillman, Jonas finished second in both races. Olsen was third in both races. Garcia was fourth in both races. Covington was fifth and sixth in both races. So he's not gained too many points on the main title rivals. But still, it's a start for Hillman this season as he's going through the rest of the field. Petrov, unfortunately, just 8 points scored. And the Japanese rider, the Swede and the Frenchman all at the back with 2 points scored.
Show strength this evening. No one could get between him and first place. His fans are absolutely thrilled.
As in the championship, look at that, Hillman climb from 12th to 5th. He's in the top 5 now, a point ahead of Sira on his Suzuki and a few points ahead of Patriel on the Yamaha. Got Bogas in 8th, Lawrence in 9th, Leiber in 10th, but in the top 4 ahead of Hillman is Covington, 113, 5 points behind Garcia, 7 points behind Olsen, with Jonas 17 points in the lead. So for Hillman, he's 48 points behind Jonas, so that's less than 2 race wins behind. That's less than an overall behind. It's still all to play for as the season goes on. As looking further back out the field, very disappointed to see Osland down in 19th on his Yamaha. As you see Petrov in 24th of this maiden outing of the season. Monticelli in 31st, as we've still got the likes of Zagoffa, the South African, and Tropepe to appear this season. So he's earned quite a lot of credits and quite a lot of fame. Look at that. Nicholas wants to 0 out of 3 riders. So no rivalry fame. How can we produce rivalries when they're praising Hillman? We need them to be a bit more aggressive with Hillman. I expected that from Olsen on the guitar. We haven't seen any of it yet this season. But maybe we'll see it after the race in Mexico. We're not in Europe yet. We're heading to Lyon. We're heading to a very tight and twisty circuit. Very difficult circuit to get right. It's all rhythm with the odd massive jump as well. And then there's that back section which flows very nicely over the start-finish line. So for Hillman, this could be a real test. And like what we saw in Argentina, this could be his real coming out party if he has to battle Jonas all race long and beat the Latvian. You'll see if he does that next time out. So out for watching, and we'll see you then.